Welcome to On the Daily, a podcast about finding the acoustic you. I'm your host, Danielle McCleerey. I am a serial optimist and a champion of people who has long been on a search to truly see people and help you peel back all of your layers and become the most acoustic, authentic, and best version of yourself. I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive in. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's happening. We're recording. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is before I even go anywhere into this is so exciting because when you have an idea for a really, really long time and it's one that you've manifested in your mind so clearly and you can see it so just everything laid out right in front of you. That is how I feel about getting this podcast off the ground. And so the fact that we are here and I just hit record on my first episode is a really wild feeling. So thank you for trusting me and coming on and spending some time with me today, because I am beyond thrilled to be here and share my heart with you, hopefully for years to come. If you are new here and you don't know me, my name's Danielle McCleerey. I am 33. I just turned 33 in December. I live in Los Angeles, California with my amazing fiance. Her name is Breezy Jordan. She is everything that I am not, and it is the most beautiful relationship I have ever been in. Also my best friend, so it makes it really easy to have conversations, we have a 4-year-old son. He is mine from my previous relationship with his dad. And I will get all into that, I promise. I'm an open book, but we live on the east side of LA and our life is awesome. I teach for SoulCycle, which is an indoor cycling company. I've been in the fitness realm. I was a professional dancer for a long time. I worked in film and television. I went to school for theater and dance, got my master's in the same field, and found fitness kind of in between all of that. And I kind of stumbled upon SoulCycle, which if you don't know what SoulCycle is, it's an indoor cycling boutique. We've been around since 2006. I've been with the company since 2012. And I stumbled upon it, a little bit more, I guess, deep into my story I'll get, but I was actually going through a horrible separation from my marriage at the time. And I found SoulCycle when I didn't think I needed SoulCycle, but I found it and I started as a writer. I would write at 6 a.m. before I had to go be on set all day for Disney Channel. And I just remember that was the first time in a long time when I found that company that I realized that real emotions were so priceless. I think I've always been very interested in humans and what makes them tick and what makes them feel the way they feel and do the things they do. But I think when I found SoulCycle, it kind of all married. And I realized that there was a company that I could inspire that in other people. And so that kind of started my long journey with SoulCycle and how I became an instructor. I've been an instructor there since 2013, and it's been quite a ride. But let's go back even farther. So, because I think everybody here is like, oh, you were going through a divorce. You must have been divorcing a woman. Incorrect. I actually married my high school sweetheart when I was 20 years old, and we moved to England shortly thereafter. I danced, I choreographed, I did all the things. We traveled the world. It was amazing. Lived there for 3 or 4 years, came back, finished up my degree in San Diego. We ended up separating. I met my son's father actually during my separation from my husband. We fell madly in love, got pregnant, totally crazy, did not plan on that, actually ended up having our son on our 1-year anniversary, which, listen, best choice I've ever made, not what I'd recommend for most. But it was beautiful. And it's all part of this, I've always had this mentality as a human in this world. I've always had this mentality of wherever you need to go and whoever you are at your core, let that be what shines through. So, sure, I'm pretty positive my parents would have loved for me to graduate high school and go to college and graduate college and then meet a nice guy and get married and then have kids and do all the things. And that's great. And like, I love everybody who that is their path. But I think for me, it's always been more about who am I in this moment? Who am I authentically? And if this is the one human existence that we have on this planet, which I don't even know if that's true anymore, but at the time, every choice I've made, it always comes down to who I am in that moment. And so when I met my son's dad and we had this beautiful child, was it part of my plan? Hell no. Absolutely not. It was not the plan. I would have loved to get to know him better. But that's just not what happened. And like our relationship did not work out in a romantic way. We are still very close and I'm so grateful for the relationship that we have for our son, but it's led me to where I am today. And where I am today is a 33-year-old woman who is so proud of everything that's ever happened in my life, every twist and turn that I've been given. And I promise you, as we dive into these episodes, you're going to learn so much more about me. But I have always wanted to create a space and a community. And I'm so glad it's manifesting in the form of a podcast because I've always wanted to create this community where people can share their hearts and who they are when the lights are off and who they are without all the layers, because that is truly what people are going to remember. My fiance actually says it so much better than I will ever be able to, but she talks a lot about how the legacy that we leave in this life is going to be one of stories. And it's not going to be what we had, it's going to be who we were, and it's going to be who we are, and it's going to be the things that we believed in, the things that we loved, the people that we loved. And that's the main reason why I've always wanted to create this podcast. I've always wanted to create a community of humans who can share their heart and hopefully inspire others to do the same. Because I think over time, as trauma happens or as life happens, we pile on these layers and layers of armor and shielding. And I've been there, so I know I used to try to hide my emotions from everyone, and I used to kind of just like follow the fold of what people thought I wanted, or what I thought people wanted from me. And I now know that that is not a good way to live. That was very toxic and only ended up costing me joy when it didn't have to. And I also recognize now that a lot of those choices were my own. So by doing this podcast, I hope that you get to leave each episode maybe feeling a little bit clearer on your truth and what makes you tick and who you are without all of that armor that you've been carrying around with you. Because at the end of the day, that armor is only weighing you down. It's not weighing other people around you down. And if you can get rid of it and you can truly just be and live and breathe and love and think and soar and dream and do in your truly truly authentic and honest self, then that's living, right? That's life. That's you on the daily. So I kind of, okay, I want to share this because people always like, what's on the daily? And when I talk about a lot, like people want the acoustic version of you, and that's my goal, is that by you listening to this podcast, you are becoming closer to the most authentic and acoustic version of yourself. So where did that come from? As I said, I mentioned this a little bit. I grew up as a dancer and I grew up in Los Angeles. My parents were divorced since I was 2. So my mom lived in one place, my dad lived in the other, but I danced a lot in Los Angeles and I used to go to acoustic performances at Hotel Cafe, which if you live in LA or if you live near Hollywood, you know of the Hotel Cafe. It's awesome because a lot of acoustic performers are there and a lot of really famous artists start doing live shows there. And I must have been 18 or 19. I mean, I was young. I had just graduated high school. I remember going because I used to go a lot and I went, and one of the times it was Katy Perry. And Katy Perry is obviously who she is today. She's this huge multi-million-dollar global superstar. But she didn't start that way. And I'm not like a Katy Perry diehard fan or anything, but I just will never forget this performance. Like, you know how things will happen in your life and they'll just kind of shift your trajectory. And this was a huge moment for me because I remember going and I saw this performance and it was her in a pale blue dress. She had an acoustic guitar. She had no dancers. There was no, I think she might have had a couple musicians with her, but it was her alone on a stage essentially with an acoustic guitar in a pale blue, probably hand me down dress. And she had this voice that was just so beautiful and it was so angelic. And I know, if you don't know about Katy Perry, her real name is Katherine Hudson. She started as a gospel singer. So she does have this like really beautiful voice. And I watched the show and I just remember going, wow, that was a really beautiful show. And then I left. And a couple years later or a year later, however long it was, her album came out and it was poppy. And, it was, I Kissed a Girl and I liked it. And I remember having this moment of being like, wow, she's a pop star. She's going in this direction of a pop star. But the her that I noticed and still to this day, like yearn for and long for when I hear her music is that acoustic version of herself. And so I think since then, maybe I've been on this quest to see who people are at their most vulnerable. And I don't mean I want to like break you down and have you like crying on the floor to me while we eat popcorn and like drink wine and eat pizza or anything. Although if you want to do that, I am down because I do love all of those things. But I really love those things. I love pizza so much. But I think there's beauty in being the acoustic version of you. And I think in a society of 2020, we have a lot of expectations, right? People expect you to be a certain way, and you can either follow that or you can say, okay, and this. And I'm always very interested, whether it be teaching at SoulCycle. I'm also an entrepreneur. I run a wellness business, and I have learned that the beauty of humans exists at the core, and all of the other stuff makes them into this like amazing picture and this amazing just event, right, in the world. But at the very bottom, at underneath all the layers, underneath all of the expectation, underneath all the years of things and stuff, there's a human being who has feelings and a heart and lungs and eyeballs and feels and loves very deeply. And so that's my goal for this podcast, I think, is that together, along with some of what will start as some of my best friends in this world who I've been so lucky to have and people who have shaped me into the human I am today. I want us all of us, including you out there, wherever you are in this earth plane, right? I want us all to collectively expand our mind at the same time as we break down our layers and truly just be. Some of the people that I have planned for these next few months, I am so excited about, some of my best friends, one of my best friends, Chris Chandler, who is such an incredible human. He's the first episode you'll hear. He has the biggest heart, and his journey to who he is today, I've gotten to watch that journey, and it's just been so beautiful. And when we think about people in our lives who are living authentically, because right, we watch people and there's those people in your life that you see and you watch them on Instagram or you meet them in real life or you go to their fitness class or you go to their live show or you'll go to their reading or you just like you are dying to be friends with these people. It's probably because there's something about them that is so authentic and you feel like you know them. And Chris Chandler is one of those people for me. He actually is one of my best friends, but I know for him, the network that he's created, people may not have ever even met them, but they feel like they know him. And that's what I hope that you gain from him. I have some of my other friends on here, Pixie Asia, who is a nut and a half and just such a ball of joy. I'm not going to share too much, but there are so many people that are going to be talking with me. And I just want to interview them and I want to ask them questions that I think maybe will be relevant for you to hear. And I hope that we connect on all of my social channels. If you've watched the trailer, you can find me at Danielle_ on the daily. That's my personal Instagram. Like, please, like reach out to me. Like, tell me who you want to hear from. Tell me what topics would benefit your life. I don't want anything to be off the table. I want to talk about spirituality. I want to talk about wellness. I want to talk about fitness. I want to talk about business and like women in business, men in business, humans in business. I want to talk about the LGBTQ community and humanize that community instead of just being this like thing that people watch from the outside. I want to bring you into the hearts and into the houses and the homes of people who are living lives like this. Cause and being a part of the LGBT community, I get people all the time that'll say to me like, "Oh, Danielle, when did you realize, when you and Breezy started dating?" That's my fiance's name. If you missed that, when did you guys start dating? Like, did your parents know? Like, did you come out? And I'm very fortunate. I never had to come out, which we will get into this in some of these episodes. Like, I never had to come out because I have always been very open and honest with my family. I get along. I have a great, amazing family. But just the fact that we have to ask those questions to people in the LGBTQ community, I want to break that down and really just like get to the fact that like these are just human beings who are living their lives, and they're not these prized possessions. I want to talk about mindset. I want to talk about goals. I want to talk about like money and why we have such a stigma around earning money. I want to talk about religion and different faiths. Sure, I'm not a person of like faith, but I am a person of spirituality. I believe greatly in the universe, but I am so open to hearing from everybody's perspective. I have this motto in life that I've actually learned from a friend of mine. Her name is Britt Barron. I call her Beans. She's an incredible human and an author and a speaker and a pastor. And one of the things she taught me was, if we close our eyes and you imagine your life, this dinner table, right? It's a dinner table. And who's there? If you close your eyes and you look around and you're like, okay, here's my fiance, over there is my best friend, and here's that person, and here's that person. And then you start to notice like who's not there, who's not at your table that really, really needs to be there. That's what I want this podcast to be about. I want this podcast to be a place where every single human is welcome. Every single person can have a voice at this table. Every single background, political affiliation, religious affiliation, spiritual affiliation, who you love, who you vote for, who you pray to, what you think, what you do, what you say. I want it all to be a safe place to have conversations here. And that's where it'll start, right? That's where it's going to start. And if it stays there for a while, great. That's a lot to cover. But as with most things in my life, I don't know where this is going to be a year from now. I think it's going to be successful because I'm a Sagittarius and an 8 on the Enneagram, which means that like I don't take no for an answer. So it's going to be successful wherever it is. But whatever we're talking about a year from now, I hope it's dramatically different than what we're talking about. And I hope it's grown and evolved and become something so much more. And it's really taken its own shape. That's the goal, because that's what communities do. They build, they grow, they flourish, they evolve together. And that's what I want. I'm going to have athletes on here. I'm going to have performers on here, singers, writers, journalists, wellness experts, spiritual Reiki masters, like sex therapists. Like we can do it all, and we are going to do it all. And the fact that you're here and like wanting to take this ride with me wherever you are, like, wow, what a cool thing. I mean, sometimes I hate technology so much, but in moments like this, I can't help but just understand just how grateful I am that we have it, because, connection is something that's so important, and time is something that's so important. And if you're giving me your time today, then I'm grateful for that. So thank you so much. I can't wait for you here to this first episode. It's going to blow your mind. And maybe I'm biased, which I am totally biased about Chris, but you're going to love it. So have a beautiful day, and we will talk soon. Okay, that's it. We are live. It is official. On the Daily is launched, and today is launch day. Thank you again for being interested and listening. I'm so, so grateful that you spent some time with me. Now listen, here's where you come in. If you like what you're hearing and you want more, give me a 5-star review. Give me a rate. Write a review for me. Let me know what you love. Let me know what you want more of. We will always, always read it, and we can talk about it on the next episode. And then go ahead and click that subscribe button up in the top corner. I am so excited to bring you more. Share this with as many people as you possibly can. Let's get this into the world. Thank you again, and we will see you next time.